In this video, I'm going to show you how to assign an Edpuzzle from within Schoology using the Edpuzzle app. It's a different process than when you're in edpuzzle.com and you create your own class in there and assign it from there. These are two different ways to assign it. In this video, I'm going to show you how to do that through the Edpuzzle Schoology app, the integration between the two products. Okay? It's very simple. However, you have to realize that you need to have some sort of content in your Edpuzzle account in order to bring that into Schoology. So you have to go to Edpuzzle and find the video that you want and put it in your My Content section in Edpuzzle first. If you've never been in edpuzzle.com, you're not going to be able to assign anything in Schoology. So if I go to my Edpuzzle account, I've already signed in. I've already made sure that I've upgraded my account to the Upper Darby High School Pro account. If you need information for that, check materials on the principal's page. But I'm already logged in and I'm ready to go. You'll notice on the left-hand side, there are all kinds of sources to get videos from. Some already have questions embedded, some don't. You know, the first place I would go if I were you would be Upper Darby High School and see if one of your colleagues has already created something that you could use. And you'll notice that when you scroll down, there are subject areas that you can click in and see what's there. The subject area refers to the content area that the teacher put in their profile. So, for example, if I go to History Social Studies, I'm going to see all of our own teachers' videos that they have added. Please realize that you're going to want to watch those videos. Don't just put it in your My Content and assume it's good. It might have just been them learning how to use Edpuzzle, or, so there might be a question in there that maybe isn't even a question. So always preview them. To do that, you would just click on the video and watch it from here. And then you can see what questions are in there. If you've done that, in order to get it into your My Content section, you would just come over here on the right-hand side and click copy, and that will add it to your content. So now you have a copy that you can use to assign. Okay? But what I'm going to do is go back out and show you the other way to do that. So let's say I know that I like this video. I've already watched it, but I haven't copied it yet. The shortcut is you can click on that little checkbox, and then when you look at the very bottom of your screen, you'll see copy down there. So I'm going to go ahead and copy that one, and it kind of tells you. It says Edpuzzle on the left-hand side, copy to your content. Okay? So now when I go to My Content on the left-hand side, I can see that that video has been added. So again, keep in mind that this My Content is the only content that you can bring into Schoology. And you can, as you can see, you can organize them into folders. You can create folders in there. This one here, Edpuzzle, these possibly could contain questions. These are just people from all over the world that made them. Again, don't assume that they're good, and don't assume that the questions are good. Everything below Edpuzzle, these are just sources of videos. So there will not be questions embedded in these, but the videos will be there and you can edit them, etc. All right, so let's get back to Schoology. So as I said before, you have to have your video in My Content. So I have videos in there, so I'm in pretty good shape. So I'm going to come back to Schoology, and assigning in here is really easy. What you would do is go to Add Materials like you always would, to across here to Edpuzzle. And what that will do is add a window. Notice at the top you're still in Add Materials. And what did it do? Well, it went to Edpuzzle and it pulled up My Content. And that's the only thing it can pull up. Now, I was already logged into my Upper Darby account, so it didn't ask me that. But if you have never used the Edpuzzle app, it's going to prompt you to log into Edpuzzle with your Upper Darby Google account. So after you do that, you'll be all set. So now I have access to all of that My Content. And so let me assign the one I just pulled in here. I'm going to click on the eyeball. So I'm going to hover, click on the eyeball. It's going to give me a preview. I could watch it and make sure it's what I want. I'm noticing that the time, it's not even 5 minutes, so it's a good length. So now I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to click Assign. I have these two options, either to prevent skipping, which is by default on. In other words, it's going to make the kid watch it. They're not going to be able to just skip to the end and say they watched it. I could turn that off if it's maybe review and you don't want to make them watch the whole thing. You want to allow them to scrub it to the section that they want to review. But if it's for a formative assessment or if they're watching it for the first time, you're probably going to keep that on. This is closed captioning. If the video itself does have closed captioning and you turn that on, the kids will see the closed captioning, which could be really useful. But all you have to do to assign it is click Assign. And what will happen now is Schoology will pull that in and it will look like this. This little symbol, these rulers here, that's the symbol for an external tool. It's not the Edpuzzle icon. It's an external tool. It just means that we've connected out using an integration. All right. So now we're not done yet. And a lot of people think that at this point it's done. Well, it's not. What you have to do is you have to configure it. So you have to come over here to the gear to edit. Leave this all the same, especially the URL, but you can change the title here. It pulls in the title of the video, but you might want to change this to make this the title of your assignment. So that is editable. It will not change anything on the Edpuzzle itself. You want to leave these two things empty. The consumer key and the shared key is already configured in the app. You're going to leave custom parameters empty as well, but you have to enable grading and you can adjust the points. Maybe I'll make that worth 25 points. You don't have to put a due date, but can, and you have to assign a category because remember, Edpuzzles are going to kind of grade themselves. So you need to do that. So if you want the grade to go in the grade book, then choose any category that you have. If you don't want the grade to actually count, you can put it in the ungraded category, and that way it won't calculate into an average in the Schoology gradebook. All right, so I'm going to hit save. And now my Edpuzzle is ready. So when I click on the title of that assignment, it will show up right in your window. So you don't even have to go back to Edpuzzle now to see that assignment. So when it loads, it looks like this. And what you will see is the Edpuzzle kind of teacher window that's right within your window. Again, you don't have to go to Edpuzzle at all. You will see in the Students tab, you'll see all of your students here, and you'll see a snapshot of how they did. In the questions area, you'll see each question, and you'll get kind of an idea of how many students got what right, etc. You can kind of look at that data. And back to the Students tab, if you need to allow a student to do it again, so let's say they did it and maybe they just messed up or they got interrupted or they were having a bad day and they reached out to you and asked if they could do it again, you can reset that progress, set them back to the beginning again. You can also, up here in this hamburger menu, you can reset the whole class's progress. So that might be maybe you did it once for practice together or maybe in class, and maybe for homework, you want them to do it again and see if they did better. So that's basically it. Their grades will go into the Schoology gradebook. So you will end up with them in the gradebook in whatever category you assign. If you click on the Edpuzzle option in the left menu here, it will load all of the Edpuzzles that you've assigned in the Schoology in that particular Schoology class. So in this particular course, I've, over the course of the semester, have assigned all of these, and I can it's kind of just a shortcut to get to it without having to go to materials and find that material. So that's all that is. So again, pretty easy process. The big warning I have for you is that once you get it in here, what you don't want to do is go to the gear and copy it to another course. You want to do that separately in each course. And since it's such a quick process, it's really not any big deal. If you have any problems with the assignment with the kids, check my notes about that. A lot of times the students misunderstand and they end up on edpuzzle.com. We don't want them on edpuzzle.com if you have assigned it this way. You really want them to just watch it within Schoology. If they do go to edpuzzle.com, it's not going to integrate correctly and the grade isn't going to show up in Schoology. So in that case, If that student tells you that, you might have to look in edpuzzle.com to see their grade. But again, don't use this copy to courses option because it's not going to integrate properly. All right, I hope this helped. Check the frequently asked questions often to see if there are any updates.